Have you ever heard someone ask you a question, their voice gentle, their words polite, but deep inside, something felt off? It wasn't fear, it wasn't anger, just a shiver, as if some quiet instinct inside you had started ringing the alarm, a faint but piercing intuition that what you heard wasn't really a question, it was a trap. Because some questions aren't looking for truth. They're designed to control, to make you question yourself, to push you into defense. While the other person quietly takes the steering wheel of the conversation, that's when you think you're answering, but in reality, you're being led. And then, one day, you catch yourself thinking, why do I always feel the need to explain, defend, or justify myself? Have you ever felt that? We often believe that lies live only in words, but the truly clever ones, they don't lie with statements. They lie with questions. Questions wrapped in innocence, but sharpened like blades. They don't aim to understand you. They aim to pierce you. If you've ever been in that place, if you've ever found yourself shrinking under a question that made you feel small, wrong, or guilty, then this video is for you, because right now, we're going to uncover the 5 most common questions manipulators use and learn how to stand firm, like a Stoic, amid the storm of subtle words. This isn't just analysis, it's mental training, a lantern in the dark, a sword forged in clarity, because you don't need to argue to win. You only need to see clearly. So sit down, straighten your spine, and let's begin this journey with the light of the Stoic masters, those who walked through deceit, yet never let the darkness enter their mind. The one who sees clearly cannot be easily misled. The one who holds still cannot be easily manipulated. In today's world, manipulation no longer looks like whips or overt commands. It's subtler now, more refined. It slips in through a question that sounds harmless, but somehow makes you feel like you're the problem. A question that pushes you to explain yourself when you shouldn't need to. A question that silences your intuition and pulls you into the need to please. This is no longer communication. This is control. It's the beginning of a quiet invasion into your inner space. And the terrifying part, most of us don't even notice it. We think we're keeping the peace. We think we're explaining to be understood. But in truth, we're walking into a chess game where every answer we give makes us weaker, step by step. So what's really going on here? In Stoic philosophy, there's a core principle. Don't react. Observe first, because not everything you hear deserves a reaction. Not every question deserves an answer, and most importantly, not everyone who asks actually wants to understand you. Epictetus once said, "The wise do not answer to please. They answer when truth is present." And Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When something outside disturbs you, ask yourself, does this touch your inner freedom?" The problem in our times is this. We're taught how to speak well, but not how to see through questions. We're trained to present ourselves, but not trained to hold our ground. When words are used as weapons, that's why learning to recognize a toxic question is not just a communication skill, it's survival. Because every time you answer from a place of pressure, you give up a little piece of your self-mastery. You're no longer choosing, you're reacting, and you don't even realize you're playing someone else's game. If you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained, second-guessing yourself, wondering if you overreacted or thought too much, then stop and ask a different question. Am I living from my truth, or being steered by someone else's question? And that is where this journey begins. Because in the next part, we're going to expose 5 of the most common questions used by manipulators to see if you've ever fallen into them, and more importantly, how to stand up and step out of them, calmly and clearly, like a true Stoic. When you are truly awake, you don't need to fight. You simply don't move. Some wounds don't come from insults. They come from questions that pretend to care. Some relationships don't break because of lies. They break because one person keeps having to justify themselves, while the other just keeps asking questions. Have you ever been in moments like these? Why are you so sensitive? You think I'm hiding something from you. So, you don't trust me. Can we just move on from this? The voice isn't loud. There's no shouting, no name-calling. But each question like that feels like it splits something open inside you. You begin to doubt your own feelings. You think, maybe I'm just overthinking it. You ask yourself, am I being too harsh, too emotional? You worry, if I speak up, will I be the one who ruins everything? So you stay quiet. And then, you blame yourself. That's the moment you've stepped away from truth and into the fog of emotional manipulation. In mind. People who manipulate won't say, I'm trying to control you. They'll simply ask questions that make you feel ashamed for having doubts. Blame yourself for being sensitive. Silence your own voice before you even speak. And the worst part, they succeed. Because you stay. Because you keep answering. Because you're still trying to make them understand you. But Stoicism doesn't teach us to live to be understood. It teaches us to live with clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if someone does wrong to you, look within. If you've done nothing wrong, then what they did is their problem, not yours. But manipulative questions don't accuse directly. They plant seeds of doubt. And if you're not awake, you'll end up hurting yourself, just to keep someone else comfortable. Have you ever cried alone after trying to prove you weren't too sensitive? Felt guilty just for asking a reasonable question? Tried to prove your honesty, while the other person never had to prove anything? If you've felt that, please know this. You're not weak. You've just never been taught how to recognize the masks that hide behind innocent-sounding questions. So from this moment forward, we don't respond out of instinct. We observe. We listen to our gut, and we hold silence as a form of awareness. Because, in Stoic philosophy, emotions aren't something to hide. They are something to understand, so they don't lead you away from truth. In the next part, we'll begin unmasking 5 manipulative questions, disguised in the softest tone. Each one is a test. Each one an opportunity to train your clarity. The moment you feel the need to explain yourself too much is the moment you need to stop. In this part, let me walk you through 5 very specific situations. Subtle traps, disguised as harmless questions. Each one is like a needle aimed straight at your clarity, but each one is also a chance to train your Stoic mind in the heat of real life. Why are you so sensitive? Scenario. You just shared, calmly, that something made you uncomfortable. They didn't apologize. They didn't take responsibility. They just said, come on, it's not a big deal. Why are you so sensitive? Psychological effect. Makes you feel like you are the problem. Plants the idea that you're overreacting. Forces you to censor your genuine feelings. How a Stoic responds. You don't argue. You don't defend. You simply look them in the eye and say, I'm not being sensitive. I'm listening to myself. Seneca once wrote, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and manipulators know this. So they plant doubt in the most powerful place, your own imagination. You trust me, right? Scenario. You notice something off. A deleted message. A strange timeline. A bug story. You gently ask, hey, what's going on with that? Instead of explaining, they reply, you trust me, right? Psychological effect. pressures you to feel guilty if you don't trust, makes your caution seem like paranoia, pushes you to dismiss your own instincts. How a Stoic responds. You take a breath, you slow down, and you say, trust doesn't come from a question, it comes from repeated action. Epictetus said, no one can learn what they think they already know. Are you accusing me? Scenario. You ask a few more questions, just trying to get clarity. They look surprised, wide eyes, slightly hurt tone. Wait, are you accusing me of something? Psychological effect. Shifts the blame onto you. Forces you to retreat instead of inquire. Flips the script. Now, you have to explain, not them. How a Stoic responds. You pose, keep your tone calm, and ask, should I be? Not to provoke, but to turn the mirror back around. A genuine question doesn't scare someone who's honest. Have I ever lied to you? Scenario. You notice some inconsistencies. You bring up a small concern, and instantly they go, when have I ever lied to you? You think I'm that kind of person. Psychological effect. Tugs at your empathy. Makes you feel ungrateful or suspicious. Derails the topic, switches from facts to morality. How a Stoic responds. Instead of saying yes or no, you stop and calmly say, the real question isn't, have you ever lied to me? When from 3, it's, am I clear enough to notice if you did? Atulo. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't waste the rest of your life speculating about others. Observe what is. Can we just move on from this? Scenario. You're addressing something that matters. They sigh, act tired, and say, it's nothing. Can we just move on? Psychological effect. Makes you feel like you're making it a big deal. Uses emotional exhaustion to avoid responsibility. Cuts off the truth before it can surface. How a Stoic responds. With steady voice, grounded tone. I'll let go when I understand. The truth doesn't exhaust us. It's the hiding that drains us. These questions are not innocent. They are designed to make you weaker, to make you back down from clarity. They are delivered with soft eyes, but carry the intention to control. And here's what most people forget. You are not obligated to answer. You are allowed to stay silent. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you are not required to have an opinion on everything. In the next part, we'll go deeper. Why do these questions confuse good people so easily? Why is it that the kindest souls are the easiest to manipulate? A question can be a dagger, but clarity is the armor that nothing can pierce. At this point, you might be starting to see it clearly, that the power of a manipulator doesn't lie in the lie itself. It lies in making you believe you're the problem. A question, on its own, is not wrong if it's rooted in the desire to understand. But when a question is crafted to twist your inner balance, it's no longer communication, it's manipulation. Why do you fall into the trap so easily? Not because you're foolish, not because you're weak, but because you're kind, you're self-aware, you have empathy, you care about others. And that's exactly why you second-guess yourself. When someone makes you feel like you're overreacting, being too suspicious, or hurting them just for asking a question. But kindness should never become an open door for someone else to walk in and rearrange your mind. What do manipulative questions really target? They attack your intuition, making you doubt what you initially felt. They flip the roles. Suddenly you have to explain instead of them. They trigger guilt. You feel bad, even when you've done nothing wrong. They drag you into emotional chess, where you're being steered by emotion, not truth. This is a strategy, not a coincidence. And if you don't recognize it, you'll keep doing the same thing. Explaining just to feel loved, proving just to feel trusted, staying silent just to keep the peace, even when the truth is quietly being buried. A Stoic lens on breaking free from manipulation. Stoicism doesn't teach you to fight back. It teaches you to see clearly what is yours and what is not. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone has done you wrong, the harm is theirs, not yours, unless you allow it." So the next time someone asks you a question that makes you feel small, makes you feel guilty, or pushes you into self-doubt, pause and ask yourself, is this question meant to understand me or to control me? Do I feel guilty because I did something wrong or because they want me to? If I say nothing, who gets more uncomfortable? Stoicism isn't about striking back. It's about standing still without being pulled in, not reacting, not getting sucked into someone else's emotional game, just standing there clear, centered, unmoved. The Stoic doesn't fight what's false. They let what's true stand on its own. In the next part, we'll distill all 5 questions into a simple, clear summary, so you can recognize them instantly, and we'll give you a small inner practice, a drill you can use. Anytime someone wraps control in a harmless question, you've made it halfway through this journey. What comes next is about anchoring your inner steadiness. When your mind is steady, you don't need to defend, because truth doesn't need to win. It only needs to remain. At this point, let's pause for a moment, not to end, but to go deeper, because knowledge alone won't protect you in real-life situations. Only what you feel and remember in your bones can anchor you when it counts. So now, close your eyes for a second and imagine hearing these questions again. Why are you so sensitive? A direct hit to your emotional awareness makes you feel weak just for having feelings. Stoic response: I'm not sensitive. I'm awake to myself. You trust me? Right. It's not a request for trust. It's a demand to ignore your gut. Stoic response: trust isn't asked for. It's earned through consistency. Are you accusing me? A soft weapon, flipping the roles. You become the guilty one for simply asking. Stoic response: should I be? Have I ever lied to you? Pulls you into emotion away from truth. Redirects the spotlight from facts to guilt. Stoic response: the question isn't, have you lied? End of fix. It's, am I clear enough to notice if you did? Bland, can we just move on from this? Uses exhaustion to avoid accountability. Makes you feel like you're the one dragging things out. Stoic response: I'll let go once I understand. Let's return to a core Stoic principle. No one can control your mind unless you hand it over. Epictetus. Each of these questions is an arrow dipped in emotional poison. But if you are clear, they won't pierce you, because the strongest defense is not a clever reply. It's a mind that doesn't waver, recall through rhythm. They ask, why are you so sensitive? You say, I'm just observing. They ask, you trust me? Right. You say, trust is something proven, not requested. They ask, are you accusing me? You say, should I be? They ask, have I ever lied to you? You say, what matters is whether I'd notice if you did. They ask, can we just move on? You say, I'll move on once I understand. And in every one of these moments, you have 2 choices: react and lose your center, or observe and remain in command. Because Stoics don't win with clever words. They win with well-timed silence, with steady eyes, with the power to be still, even when the heart trembles. Being awake doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you feel without being led away. In the next part, we'll go even deeper. How do you apply Stoic clarity in everyday life, where these kinds of harmless questions still fly at you all the time? I'll share a simple inner drill, a clarity check. You can run in your mind. Anytime something feels off in a conversation, by now, you may have realized something subtle. Manipulation doesn't always come from someone malicious. Sometimes it comes from someone you love, someone you care about, someone you don't want to lose. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Because you don't brace yourself, because you want to preserve the relationship at any cost, so you go silent. You give in. You carry the weight and call it compassion. But Stoicism doesn't teach us to carry weight. It teaches us to see clearly and then choose how to stand firm. With calm, not force. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The person who wrongs you has already judged themselves. Your job is not to let their wrong take root in your mind. You don't need to fight loudly. You don't need to expose or confront. You simply need to ensure that a manipulative question doesn't pull you away from the truth." In a drill, the 6-question clarity check. Whenever someone asks you something that feels off, don't rush to answer. Go inward first and ask yourself these 6 questions. Is this question making me doubt my real feelings? If yes, pause. Don't respond yet. Before anything else, remind yourself, I have the right to feel what I feel. Are they trying to understand me or trying to steer me where they want me to go? Clarify intent. Those who seek to understand don't push. San, am I explaining to be heard or explaining just to be believed? If you're speaking too much just to earn trust, stop. Truth doesn't need over-explaining. So, if someone asked my friend this question, would I think it's fair? Step out of the emotion. View the moment as an outsider. Woo. Am I speaking to honor truth or to hold on to the other person? One simple question can reveal the entire dynamic. Luke, if I don't answer, who gets more uncomfortable? If they get angry at your silence, it's not about the answer, it's about control. This is inner training, not to fight others, but to make sure you don't fight yourself. Everyday practice. Give yourself a few seconds of silence before every difficult answer. Don't fear the pause. It's where your intuition speaks the loudest. Learn to watch the eyes, the breath, the tone, not just the words. And remember, silence isn't surrender. It's the foundation of awareness. A Stoic isn't someone who always knows what to say. A Stoic is someone who knows when not to say anything at all, because sometimes the safest thing you can do is not respond with force, but remain quietly clear. When you look someone in the eye, hear their question, and something in you whispers, I won't let my mind be led, just because I'm afraid of making them uncomfortable, then you've already won. In the final part, we'll slow down even more, not to summarize, but to reflect, to leave this journey not just with knowledge, but with an inner vow that helps you walk through a world where questions still wear masks. The manipulator doesn't fear those who fight back. They fear the one who sees through them and remains still. Someone once asked me, how can you tell if someone is trying to manipulate you just from a question? I stayed quiet for a moment. Then I said, pay attention to how you feel. After the question has been asked, you don't need deep analysis. You don't need high-level logic. Just one thing. Do you feel clearer or more confused? Do you feel more grounded or more scattered? Do you feel like yourself or feel the need to reshape yourself just to please them? If the answer leans toward confusion, you don't need to argue. You don't need to fight. You simply stand still, in silence, and let truth speak for itself. Because each one of us carries an inner compass. When someone asks a question that makes your compass spin, makes you lose your sense of direction, maybe they don't actually want to understand you. Maybe they just want control over your mind. And in those moments, remember this. You have the right not to answer. You have the right to pause. You have the right to step away from a question in order to stay connected to yourself. No one can control you. If you hold on to one thing, inner clarity, Epictetus once said, "It's not events that disturb you, but your judgment about them." A question, by itself, can't hurt you unless you allow it to make you doubt your own truth. So from this day forward, whenever someone asks you something, before you speak, answer yourself first. Am I staying true to myself? Am I saying this because it's true, or because I'm afraid to upset them? If I say nothing, do I lose them, or do I keep myself? A gentle prayer to close this journey. May you always stay clear enough to see through sweet-sounding questions. May you keep a soft heart, but not one that gets led astray. May you remain still enough to hear your intuition say, "This question is not worth trading my peace for." And if you're on this path, if you're learning to slow down, to look deeper, to stay rooted while the world spins, then know this: you are not alone. We are walking this road together, the road of the awakened, the ones who choose clarity over conquest, stillness over argument, and self-connection over being understood. Thank you for staying until the very end. If this video stirred something in you, share it with someone else who's also on the path back to truth. If fate allows, we'll meet again in a place of light where words are few, but understanding runs deep. LABE, Stoic.